Hello, welcome back to the 21st stream of the month. We are on day 14. We've been streaming every single day, some days even more than once. We've been building this forum. I've called it JamstackBB. So if you head to jamstackbb.dev, you will now see this thing we've been creating. And yesterday we created the members list, and Jonathan joined me to do that live. And we did that yesterday. We created this members list, and it shows this little badge when you are online. So I'm pretty pleased with the progress we've made so far in 14 days. And we've been streaming every single day, sometimes more than once, to build this out from scratch. And it's all built and backed on Hasura, uses Next.js and GraphQL. Today I thought it would be interesting to have a look at an issue that is open, and this is for the categories index, I would say. So right now there's no way to browse individual categories. You've just got this one gigantic recent activity list, and obviously there is pages for today's posts. Sadly, nobody has posted, so if you're watching and you want to join and create a post, your post will show up in the stream, so do that. And anything that is marked as answered shows up in the answered, and anything that is unanswered remains in unanswered. So it will be interesting to add a page, maybe slash categories, and then we can see all of the different categories that are available. And then maybe when we go into one of these, we just show what category it's posted in, and then we can also make that a link as well. And it just makes it a bit nicer to kind of move around. We haven't worked on the styling all too much at all throughout the series. We are just going over function here in the form. So why don't we dive in and see what we need to do to get it working. Categories right now, we actually can go to a category and we'll see the threads in that category. So we just need a way to link to these. And then obviously we need the index category as well. So what I'm thinking is if we go to thread, the ID page for each thread, then why don't we just import link, right? Let's just make this super easy. We'll come back and refactor stuff later. Like I say, we are more bothered about getting this thing working than we are how it looks right now, because we're picking a lot of different tools up here and we're building something else. So let's just go with the flow. So I'm going to say directly below the title, we will place a link, and maybe we'll just put a link to the category here. So is it href or is it 2? I can never remember. This is going to go to the category, and then we'll also place a name of the category here. It's not category page. It will be data.threadsbypk.category.name. And where did we get that? We got that in the query. We didn't get that in the query. Let's get that in the query, Jamie. We'll query the ID and the name. We will at some point query for slug, so we'll make the URLs to our categories a little bit nicer and SEO friendly. But for now, like I say, we are just concerned about how things work. So we'll create the path here, and this will be /category/ID, and it won't be ID, Jamie. It will be data.threads.id for the category. Now if we go back and we go to localhost because we're running, we'll click on members list. We can see here you've got posted in general, and I click on general, and then this goes to the general thread, and we can see we have a pinned thread here as well. What would be nice is this is obviously a subcategory. It would be good to kind of design the subcategory in a similar format to how this works, so we can then go and click on category on the feedback category and then see all of the categories inside of there. So that's a subcategory. So why don't we have a look at how we could kind of style that up. Hopefully my resolution is clear enough so you can follow along. All the code is on GitHub as well if you're interested in seeing what this looks like. It's all built with Next.js and Tailwind. This is how we've got the styles kind of all just working. It didn't take too much. I know it's not the best, it's not the nicest looking, but we're making progress, and that's all that counts. Then I'm just going to add a quick style to what do we do? We shall pick up we'll go to the today page. I'm just going to grab the styling for this. Go back to thread. Do we already have that styling? No, we don't. We're using gray 800. Now if we go here, there, that's kind of a little nicer. Should we add a border at the bottom, do you think? What was the borders we're using? Are we doing any borders, Jamie? Are we doing any borders? Border primary 100. We'll probably change all these color variables at some point. Come on, get loading. Maybe it's my connection, but it's waiting for Hasura to respond. This isn't so much a problem in production because these pages are built, so it's going to be super fast if I switch to the production build and we go home. Look how fast this is. It's just blazing fast. These are all static pages that have been built, and because it's built with Next.js, every single time any data changes, we will rehydrate the React app on the front end, and it'll use SWR to fetch that content, and that'll bring it down and update the page. And then automatically, like magic, Next will rebuild it as well, and it'll push it out to the CDN. So you don't really have to rebuild. So every time someone makes a post or applies or does whatever, it will automatically update the page, update the cache, and whatever. But we are having difficulties connecting to Hasura here. So this could be a problem. This is the first time I've seen this during these streams with Hasura, so I'm not entirely sure what is going on. Let's just stop the server. We'll run it again. Something may have had a hiccup. Yeah, connection speed's all good. We're all good on that front. We're up to 40 meg. So yeah, maybe it's a Hasura issue. Anyway, that seems to have loaded in after a restart. So now let's have a look at, we'll move this stuff out here, what you see here. We'll move this into the top right eventually. Yeah. Let's just leave that there for now. Post it in general. Click general. Let me go there. Right, so let's try and make this category a little bit nicer. So go to the category view. And where are we displaying this? Like here. So like thread list, I want to make a component called category list that takes in categories. And this will be data.categories by PK, and then it will be subcategories. That will be what we pass in. Looks good, sounds good, should be good. Category list. I'm going to comment that out. We're going to go ahead and import this imaginary category list component, and we'll make it in the same directory. Components. And while we've got thread list, I'm going to go ahead and create category list, and I'm going to paste that same thing in, and we'll just call this category list, and we'll import category. Then we'll destructure threads as the prop, and this will be categories. And we've optionally got this class name, which we kind of spread into the div that surrounds the categories that we map, which is fine. Just gives us a bit more flexibility on the category page. For example, we pass in a custom class name to the thread list component to add a border. It just gives us greater flexibility than wrapping it around here, because then I've got to put that everywhere, and sometimes I don't want it, and there's padding and whatever. There's loads of problems. So this way, we can just throw it on down. So I'll stop talking, stop blabbing on, and we'll get back to writing some code. And hopefully by the end of this, we'll have something worth sharing. Category, we'll create that file because that's what we're building. And let's have a look. I'm going to copy all of this. Go to category. And then I'm going to work from this. I'm going to get rid of these imports. We'll get rid of today. We might need the arrow. Should we keep the arrow? I'm talking to you, but you can't speak back. So, well, you could write in the chat. So I'm just going to keep talking to myself while I code, and hopefully this is somewhat interesting. Now, categories. Categories don't have a title, but they do have a name. And we don't need any. Do we need any post counts? I feel like we need the post counts of what's inside of a category. It would be nice to show like a little chat, that chat icon that we had previously, and then maybe the number of threads that are in that category. That could be interesting to show. So should we keep that import for the chat? Probably keep that in. We'll keep post aggregate as well, and we'll get rid of the post array. Now we haven't queried for posts aggregate at all, so we'll need to do that in just a second. And we can literally just get count from there. Now, do we need last post? I'm trying to think. So full stack Greek developer, mic fixed. Yes, it is. I'm not sure what was going on yesterday. I don't know if it's because today I'm speaking directly to the microphone, and yesterday I was kind of looking away. That maybe could have been a problem. I'm not sure. Or maybe it was just the way it is. That's just how it was working yesterday. I don't know. So thank Rich for liking that tweet on Twitter as well. Thank you very much for liking that. A retweet would be appreciated, and we can get more people building with Next, GraphQL, and all of this fun stuff that we're learning together. So where are we now? I'm going to remove some of this junk because we don't need it for now. Yeah, I feel like we don't need that. So the component we're copying is this thing. So I feel like we need this chat icon, we need this chevron, and we need the title of the category. And then maybe as we have some text below to show the last post or a description. I don't know. Maybe last post. Maybe last post is worth doing, but we'll not query that data just yet. We'll have a look. We'll get the styling done, and then we'll go ahead and query the data. But this icon here doesn't make sense anymore in the context of a category. So I'm more inclined to just remove it. Eventually what I may do is make this some icon to indicate whether there's been a new post or not, or whether this is a hot category because there's a lot going on. I mean, right now the forum is booming. There's been 0 posts today, so we're all good there. Has anybody posted since we started the stream? No. Go to jamstackbb.dev, click register, create an account, or log in if you've already got one, and make a post. Say hello. Reply in the welcome to Jamstack forum, and we'll see this thread move to the top because that's got the latest activity. So go give that a try. Let me know what you think. So back to what we were doing. Type error object is not a function. You're right, because we haven't created a function yet. So let's just remove this. It doesn't really, that doesn't need to be flex anymore. So we can get rid of that. And we can get rid of that. I will go ahead and comment this out. I'll get rid of that locked. And I'll also get rid of answered. We don't need that just yet. I'm going to comment these out because we'll come back to adding this stuff in just a sec. So last post by ... And we have category names, so that's what we want to show. There's no concept of pinning categories, just threads. And we'll destructure name. So if I now save that, come back here, refresh, wait for Hasura to respond, and we haven't made that query to get our count. So let's do that now. On the category page, we are. That's on the thread. It's not posts aggregate that we need, it's threads. Yes. I think we can query threads aggregate. I think that's available to logged in and guests. So we will find out. It's not post aggregate, it is the count of threads. So I'll uncomment this because we now have the count. We should really just always show that, I think, right? Like, there's more often than not going to be a thread. We come back here, we refresh, and we still have an issue. Aggregate of undefined. What are we doing wrong? We are querying that, and we are passing that makes sense. So we were calling thread aggregate on the category to get all threads inside of there, but we're not using that here. We're using that inside of subcategories. So we need to fetch it there. Then we'll also need to get the last post as well. So why don't we have a look at what we were doing inside of today. And here we have it. We have posts limited to 1. We'll do the same here. But posts is... Oh, okay. Maybe we get the last thread based on post activity. Would that work? I'm not sure what happened there. Let's share my screen once again. So we seem to be having some connection issues this evening, which is making this a little bit difficult. Hopefully everything's streaming okay. That just completely kicked me off. We're still live? I think we're live still. Okay, so that query has been returned. I do apologize that we have some connection issues today. Yeah, we still appear to be live, so all good. So there's one thread in feedback, which is good. It's pretty difficult to distinguish that this is a category and this is a thread, but I think we'll get to that at a point later. So when we click on this, it's then going to go to something that looks similar. There's no such thread found because we're not linking to a thread. So that'll be the next thing we have to update. This will be category. So then this link becomes category. We click that and we go to the feedback category. And then we can see this is the thread inside of the feedback category. And yeah, it's not pulling the data. So Azure Cloud status. We don't seem to have a status page that I'm aware of, but right, we are having issues fetching data here. We are on the hosted instance of Azure. So it seems to be okay. There isn't any warnings. It works, it logs in, it's fetching stuff. So maybe it's just a glitch in the matrix. But we're clicking on this thread and it's just not going anywhere. And none of these pages are. So it is waiting for Azure to respond. So there's definitely something going wrong today with internet connection. So we may have to resume this stream tomorrow or later on today, tonight, if this continues to be an issue. But yeah, working with headless APIs is great, but when you can't replicate them locally, it's a bit annoying. Great thing about Azure is you can run it locally. We are just not doing that. We could spin this up and have this running locally, and we wouldn't have this problem. So anyone that is serious about using Azure, then that would probably be a great development workflow. But because we built this so quickly from scratch without knowing anything, this is where we've ended up. It seems to start working again once we reboot the server. It's GraphQL. It took 1.14 seconds. So should we try and get that last post now? Maybe we just use Azure directly to make this a little faster. So we go get category by ID. We'll go here. We'll open this and open graphical, and we'll paste this in. Then we'll add the ID. I don't need the threads in graphical, so don't give me that. And let's just grab that ID. That UUID of the category we need. So we should be able to make this request, and we get our subcategories, and we have the thread aggregate. Now I want to get the last post of the last, I want to get the last thread post, right? So I'm trying to think where we did this. Well, where have we done this previously? Have we done this previously? I'm going to get rid of this link as well before we forget. Have we done that at all anywhere today? Is it the index page? Are we doing something here? Threads order by. That's what we need. Then posts. This will be limit 1. And we'll just steal this. Message author. It's not message. We don't open message. We open author. And this will have a name. And I don't think we need this. We don't need the ID. We just need this. So we'll make that look nice. And here we have it. We are querying subcategories, and we are getting the last post. We're getting the last thread that had maybe we need to put a limit inside of here as well. Limit 1. So we're getting the last thread that had activity. So if somebody posts in a thread, it's going to order that by the post activity, because threads don't update themselves. It's the posts that update. And then we're getting the last post in that thread. So we should be able to take this, paste it into our implementation here, and then we should be able to use that in our component. So passing threads down, and it will just be an array. So this may look a little funky, but I don't know what else we can do in this instance because we're so many levels deep now. And I don't know if there's any query complexity with Hasura, whether it complains if we have too many complex queries. I guess we're limiting it. We're creating a filter, so we'll need to check that out. Let's have a look at the thread component once more. That's all we did, was we just destructured the first argument from posts, so we just need to do the same for threads and call that last thread. And then from last thread, we destructure the last post. So that's not confusing. We'll do threads. We'll get threads. And do we even need... We don't need the message. We're not showing the message. We just need the thread title. That to me maybe is a better thing to query. So we don't get the post message. I don't know what I was thinking. We don't really need that last post, although the only thing we need is the avatar of the last post, because it would be nice to show who last posted in that thread. So we'll still get the author of the last post, and we'll probably need created that as well. And then last thread, and we'll do last post, and that will come from threads. Well, that'll come from last thread dot post. So let's uncomment this, and this will be last post dot author dot name. Now last thread dot title has replies. Probably need to define that again, right? We're going to need post aggregate of that. We are really testing the Hasura GraphQL engine here. We are so many levels deep that this is making me nervous. I wouldn't advocate that this amount of complexity goes into a query, But for the purposes of what we're doing, I'm happy to kind of make that trade-off and just go with the flow. And it's all statically built, so it's not like this query runs on every page. It does. But to build the site, it doesn't. It just runs once, and then whenever you view it, it'll run it again. So yeah, what I've just said is completely irrelevant because it's untrue. If it has replies, does it have replies? Is the count? Threads count? It's not count, it's going to be... Whoa, here we go. This is where things get interesting. So we're going to have to do last thread dot posts aggregate dot count is greater than 1. If it is, we've got replies and someone replied. We'll put reply to. We'll do that. And let's put the time ago in as well. We'll bring back this. We'll bring back the import. And last post, create at today. We need to bring back today. We'll add that here. And the week starts on Monday. Save. Fingers crossed. Refresh the page. Category is not defined, of course. So, there we go. No trap applied to testing subcategories last Sunday. Now maybe the author name is a little bit overkill. Maybe we don't need as much detail, we just need the title. But I kind of like it. I do. I kind of like it, but it is a bit of a complex query to get posts. We don't really need the post. Although only thing we need is the date. But yeah, let's leave it at that for now. And we'll come back and make this look a little bit nicer. If we need to, we may have to truncate this or break it over several lines. We'll see what that looks like. Okay. Should we go any further with what this looks like? Should we add a background gray 100 perhaps? Make it rounded, add some padding. Or is that just gonna look weird? I mean, forgive my spacing, but I don't know. Let's just remove it and we'll get a real designer to give us some opinion on how this should be formatted. So next, I promised we would create the categories index page. We're 33 minutes in, so let's move on to that. So inside of the index, I'm going to create a route for categories.js, and this will run the same query as what we're doing here. Let's just grab today because I think it's the cleanest page. We'll go here and we'll export categories index or whatever we want to call it. We don't need any variables. We don't need thread list. We need category list. We don't need end of today, start of today. We don't need to pass in any variables here or here. And this will be category list, which accepts categories, and it'll be data.categories. So all that's left to do now is create the query for categories. We don't need anything in the variables. We're not using any variables with GraphQL. And we'll return all categories. There wasn't any particular order of the categories, which is maybe something we look to introduce down the line. So categories have an ID. They don't have title, but they have name. And let's just query, what else do we need here? We need threads. We need everything from threads, basically. And we need threads aggregate. So we'll copy that. And we'll add this to here. Paste that in. We'll go to /categories. Probably run into an error. Can't read posts of undefined. We'll be using posts. We'll be using posts here. Last thread. Apologies about that. We seem to be having connection issues still. So this is still loading. And this is really painful. Let's run this once again. Come here. So last thread posts. Are we even querying for that? Threads. Last thread. Category list gets categories, and it passes each category to the category component. We then have threads and threads aggregate. Post aggregate, I don't think we need. Oh, we do for the Boolean has replies. So what are we doing wrong? Why aren't we working on this page? Cannot read properly posts of undefined. Last post. Last thread. So for each of our category, we are getting threads. Maybe we don't have any threads. Could that be the problem? Or we got no posts inside of a category, that'll be it. That makes more sense, Jamie. Yeah, there's no threads inside of the category somewhere. Let's just see. Yeah, okay, cool. It's not iterable. There we go. All right. So we could do something here. could do const has threads equals count greater than or equal to 1. If we have threads, we're good. Let's run the query. Let's run this query and see what's going on. Yeah, we got no threads. Well, that was the issue. So I'm trying to think what we're supposed to be doing at this point. I'm a little stuck now. Hi, Jonathan. Thanks very much for joining the stream. Big shout out, Jonathan. Awesome JavaScript developer. Could probably fix this problem in seconds, but we don't have him today. He's flexing at the gym. Yeah. Let's try and figure this out. Okay, we lost a viewer. That may have been Jonathan from my remark. So I'm just clicking around, not really having a clue what we're doing. Where were we at? Yeah, I almost feel like we don't need to show any of this if we don't have any threads. Like, we can't show when something was last posted if we don't have a thread. So I feel like this is like, has threads? I don't know. Let's just go with the flow. Add this here. That's obviously not going to fix the problem we have. But I can't really think right now. Last thread, threads. Well, it's going to be empty, right? So we can't do any of this. So we've got terrible connection issues today. What is going on? We have to keep restarting to pull anything down. This is really, really breaking the flow. What a fantastic stream today. So we're still waiting for a connection to somewhere. It's really breaking my flow here. So yeah, we got no post of undefined, which is fine. So like if it has threads, otherwise just return null. It's obviously not going to fix that problem, but as applies last thread post aggregate. Well, we don't. That will be 0. So I'm being a bit smart, but I don't think... I'm trying to think how we can get around this problem without making the code really, really messy. What time are we coming up on? So we're coming up on 45 minutes. Got about 5 or 10 minutes left of the stream today. So we may resume this feature tomorrow. What is that array returning? Did we find out from Hasura what that's returning? So let's get to the same problem. Yeah, we got some terrible problems today. Connection problems. I do not know why, but we keep having to restart the server. Yeah, this is unbearable. Unbearable. I've almost forgot what we're trying to solve here because of the connection problems. I might just give up for today and we'll pick up tomorrow. We have so we should have an error now for post aggregate. Yeah. As replies is not defined. So last thread, post aggregate count, that should be 0 anyway, right? Well, no, not if the array is empty. Right, so we need a way to conditionally show this stuff, and this is normally when I'd reach out to a separate component, and then we kind of offload that. It's a separation of concerns basically. We're doing too much here. That's kind of conditional. Maybe as we can just do the function in here. I'm just trying to think what could we call this? Function last thread, and we pass in posts or threads. I don't know. I'm not thinking straight. Let's save that and remove. Let's remove this whole thing. Plus, we need to decide how we're going to order things, right? This connection is really, really annoying. I do not know what is going on, but we do have some issues. So we've got our categories here, and I would like to display the last thread and post information inside of each of these. But there's so many conditions involved there. I'm thinking we move that into their own component, or even just a function, and then we can decide on what we show, because we may just show the last title. in there. Like last thread is fine. If we copy, let's just copy this. Remove the avatar. I mean, we could keep that in. And then this just becomes last thread.title for now. Title of undefined. So if we have a thread, we'll go ahead and display that. So Jamstack was the last thread there. And in this category, that was the last thread, but these don't have anything. So that's why we've got issues there. There's no order here, although in Hasura we could technically add two categories in order. And also you'll notice we are getting feedback here as well. And we should not get feedback. We should get, what should we get? We want to get all categories where parent parent can be parent ID equal is null. And that should get us everything but feedback in any child categories. Refresh. So again, we're waiting on Hasura to respond to the response here. Let's stop the server, start the server once again because we have problems with our internet connection. Cool. So we no longer have feedback because that is a subcategory. So I'm thinking tomorrow what we do is we try and get in subcategories inside of here somehow. Maybe they're displayed below or whatever. So we can click on any one of these, general. Then we go to the general category. This general category has a subcategory. So maybe we need to insert some kind of text to show that it's a subcategory. Because right now it just looks like a normal thread and the UI is a bit basic. We can go to the JavaScript category and we can see there's two threads inside of here, which is cool. We go to APIs, we can see there is 0 threads going on in here. So maybe it is worthwhile inside of category for this has threads. We just conditionally show that div. It'll be this one, right? There's no point showing a little char icon if there's no threads. Let's refresh. Let's wait 10 minutes for the server to respond. Come on, Next. Is it you or is it me? Once this loads, I'm going to call it a day and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll continue because the connection to Hasura and the outside world at the moment is unbearable to work effectively. So we'll come back to it. I'm sorry, and we'll try and do a little bit more tomorrow on this. But I'll leave it as is, and I'll not touch anything, and we'll definitely come back tomorrow. So here we've got categories index page, and we've got the categories here, and then we can click through to each of these. So tomorrow we'll probably fix up whatever was going on before. We can work a little bit faster, and we'll link to categories from somewhere, and maybe we can show somewhere here that this has sub forums. That might be interesting, or display everything together. I don't know, or maybe we just leave it as is, and then inside of Hasura we can go ahead and we can update categories. We can modify this, and we could add a position, and we could say this is a integer that is auto incrementing, so every time we add one it just comes to the bottom, but we need a way to kind of change the order of things, and it needs to update the entire order. So maybe we don't do that just yet, and we just leave this as is, because I would like to come on to creating an admin panel, and I think that would come in really helpful there. Okay. Right, I'm going to leave this as is, and we'll pick up the stream tomorrow. So thank you very much for tuning in to day 14, episode 21 throughout the series of Building with Hasura, GraphQL, and Next.js. If you've got any questions, comments, or suggestions, please head on over to jamstackbb.dev, create an account, create a thread, or reply to an existing thread, yeah, we'll get going from there. So hopefully you found this stream enjoying. I know it's been a little bit annoying with the internet connection and things, so I will resume tomorrow, and hopefully things are a little bit better then. But thank you very much, and until next time, happy coding.